Blessings, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited. You know, August is a big month for me. It's my birthday month. And I'm doing this series on the mysteries of the lost lands. And that's exciting to me because I have throughout my ages, my physical human ages, I have resonated with each and every lost land. And it made me wonder, it confused me. Okay, so where do I belong, or where am I from? So I started doing some research a few years back and got a lot of sense out of this research. And some of my, I have all my books at my tiny house. And so there are a couple important books that I will mention next week when I talk about the lost lands, because I want to give the authors where I have learned this information from kudos. But for today, I do have a couple, like Edgar Cayce. I have gotten a lot of information from reading his material on the Lost Lands. Also, an author and intuitive out of Australia, Lacey Cavendish. I have taken some of her information and really resonated with it. So if you want to learn more, I would really suggest that you look up those two experts, because there is so much to learn, so much. And what I plan to do is today I will give you a test. So get a paper and pencil out, and we will determine what resonates with you, what lost land resonates with you the most. And so we will spend a lot of time on that, as well as the generalities of each land. And then next week, I will talk specifically about Lemuria. And then the week after that, I will talk specifically about Atlantis. And then the week after that, I will talk specifically about Avalon. All right? So I'm very excited because I know people from each land. And when we get in the nuts and bolts of it, I know will too. I will also next week, and maybe touch on it this week if we have time, but I have a feeling that I'm not going to have time. But the time continuum, because a lot of people wonder about the time continuum and how old these lands are and when they came into effect, or when they came about. So I will cover that before I start the series of the part on Lemuria, because that's an important piece. So let's see. So while you are getting your paper and your pencil, I just want to say hi, and I'm glad you're here. If you are listening for the first time and you don't know where the chat room is, the 1-2 Radio chat room, then go over to Facebook, type in 1-2 Radio, and it's a private community, a private chat room to where you can type in your questions, and I will really give it my best shot today to give a couple readings, because I know I can't go through the day without doing a reading for myself. So I really don't want to not give you a reading because I'm trying to get all this information in for you. Besides, it's fun, and the fairies are telling me, give a reading. Just remember that when I do give readings to you, even if I have pointed someone out in the chat room that wants a reading, then that reading is for you too. Even if you didn't say anything about wanting a reading, it's for you. And if it resonates, it's yours. Remember that. So I don't have to necessarily call your name for the reading to be yours. If it resonates within your heart, then there you go. So I have 3 things that I'm drinking today. And as you know, if you tune in to me, you know that it's really important to stay hydrated now. So I have my water. And I am going to do some free advertising for a juice bar that I'm in love with, that I get my juice from when I don't have time to juice myself or make smoothies. So Zoe's Juice. If you're ever in Olympia and you want a great juice or smoothie, Zoe's Juice. But I put some protein powder in it to give it a little extra gumption there. So I hope that you're getting your vegetables in, and that's how I get mine in a lot of times because I'm so busy, is through juice and smoothies. You know, putting that kale and that spinach in my smoothies with pineapple and mango and cayenne pepper to get the metabolism going is always a good thing to do, I think, in my world anyway. And I'm going to also do, just hold on, I am going to get to the test in a minute, but I want to do some advertising. This is the, the advertising. This show is brought to you by, all right, it's brought to you by Juice Plus. And, I do not like to sell. I am not a salesperson, but I've been using Juice Plus for many months, and I have gone through the gamut of vitamins and minerals, and I think I have really found what I really resonate with. Juice Plus is when you don't get enough of your fruits and vegetables in, you can take them in capsule form, or you could take them in gummy form. What sold me, I mean, I was already sold, but this is what the clincher was when I started offering Juice Plus and being a representative of Juice Plus, is that they do studies on children. So if you are buying the vitamins and you have a child that is 4 years or older, they can participate in the study, and all you have to do is just fill out a questionnaire of what their habits and eating habits are, maybe once a month. I think it's once every 2 months that you do this. And they get their vitamins for free. They get their gummies for free because they really want our children to grow up learning how to take better care of their bodies and to get that fruit and vegetables in. So that's where it sold me. Before I forget, because I'm getting ready to go over and talk about, thanks for listening, because I am not a salesperson, but I do want to start, that is like my advertisement, and we have to have advertisements on the show, That's what takes care of the cost of the show, is if I advertise what I believe in. But I just posted it in the private chat room. If you're interested, you could go there, or you can private message me and I will give you the scoop. Okay, so enough of the advertising. Okay, so I'm so excited that I'm not sure what direction to go. No, that's not true. I was going to show you the other thing that I'm drinking today. This is my little Stonehenge cup that I bought at the gift shop at Stonehenge. And we went there, we showed up there about like 4, 5 in the morning so we could have a private tour of Stonehenge. And the reason I mention that today is because Avalon, when we talk about Avalon, Stonehenge is in that connection of Avalon. And if you find that you are resonating with the Avalon energies, I would highly recommend you look up Donna Virgilio. She is one of the advisors over at 12listen.com. She has taken people over to Glastonbury, England, the Tintagel, where Merlin is, and where it is said that King Arthur and the knights and all that. And that is what Avalon energy is all about. And she will take you in for a tour, a private tour in Stonehenge. And I went on one of her goddess tours a couple years ago, and I would highly recommend it. She has another tour coming up, and it's, I think, summer of 2018. So look that up. So that's why I'm like plugging Donna Virgilio, and because she is totally Avalon energy, and she will take you to the places that really have that energy. All right. So before I start the test, and I know that you guys all have your pens and papers ready, I just want to, I have notes like in front of me. So if I'm like going like this, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I don't want to miss anything today. But I wanted to just give you some like tidbits about each mysterious mystery land. Okay. So if you resonate, let's say with Lemuria, usually it is a person that is very wise. That might be called a wise one, or someone that people go to get wisdom. They are usually keepers of the earth. They're very adamant about taking care of the earth. They also are highly likely to believe in fairies and the elements, and just really have that love. And speaking about love, you know, they have a little frustrating times in you know, that love arena. Okay. And that's very similar to the Avalon energy. But you know, Atlantis. Now, Atlantis, usually they are people who are very technical, who are interested in grids, just an expert in grids and sacred geometry. They are artistic and very talented, okay? And then there's that Avalon energy that I so resonate with the Avalon energy, probably the most. But the Avalon energy is full of magic, and that tangible magic that we feel in our everyday life. We are also full of passion. And we love strong and hard and hurt deeply. So we'll turn around and love again. But that's just to give you a little overview of each of the lands, because as we go into the more specifics, you will start to see where they are quite different. Okay, so let's see. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to take the test? So now, certainly the test that I'm going to give you is a very minute piece of this test. And if you're interested in getting the whole test and getting one-on-one information about where you're from, I do have a time-based session that is over at 12listen.com. So, but I'm going to go quickly through these because we have a lot of information to cover. Okay. Hydrate. Also, so I don't lose my voice. Okay, so part one. What I would like you to do is answer true or false. Does this statement resonate with you? Then true. If the statement does not resonate with you, false. Also, a lot of times, these statements will have resonated with you at one point in your life or another. We are talking about right here, right now. Not in the past, a couple years ago when we were working on something else, or not what we're working towards. Okay, so very important to just keep it in the now. And I know that's challenging for me. When I was taking this test, I was like, well, you know, this really resonated a couple years ago. But it's important to just stay in the now of it, all right? So, number 1, I am a very deep emotional person. True or false? All right. Number 2, I have experienced more than one life challenge. So this statement is that I have gone through hell more than 1 or 2 times in this lifetime. True or false? We have overcome challenges. So number 3, I have been so depressed that I have contemplated suicide or have actually attempted it. True or false? All right. The next question is, I am shy and prefer to be alone with my own company or my close friends. So, you know, that could even mean being an extrovert at work, because you have to turn yourself on. But what you would prefer is your own company or the company of 1 or 2 close friends. So, I am shy and prefer to be alone with my own company. True or false? The next question. I see things as karmic. I see things as meant to be. It's meant to be. That's why that happened. It was supposed to happen. It was meant to be. All right. So, the next question is, I feel protected by divine beings. So you know that there are angels and guides around you. So, I feel protected by the angels. True or false? You just know. So, the next question is, body work is something that I am drawn to. Now, if you're a mechanic and you're taking, yes, I like to work on cars, then you know what? If it resonates with you, put truth there. But the body work I'm really talking about is like Reiki, massage, energy work, you know, just you like to hug. So that's the body work. I am drawn to body work. Whether it be a mechanic. Okay. The last question in that section is, I have an addictive personality. True or false? I know I do. I'm raising my hand. I do. All right. So, we're going to go draw a line. Draw a line under that series of questions. I have so many more questions I could ask you in that section, but I don't have time. I want to make sure I get through the time. All right? So, section 2. I think that someone's mowing my lawn outside and I didn't ask them to, but thank you, universe. It needed to be mowed, but not right now. All right. So section 2, I am more drawn to energy work than to body work. So you would rather send energy to someone, whether it be remotely, not necessarily touching them, but you would rather just send energy instead of doing body work and putting hands on. True or false? The next question. I do not like my physical appearance. It feels heavy and dense. So your physical appearance, you're uncomfortable within your body. True or false? So the third question that I'm going to ask is, I am drawn to crystals and grids. True or false? The next question. I often wish I did not have to eat. True or false? I have rejected the mainstream path. This is the next question, by the way. I have rejected the mainstream path, although it could have been very successful for me. I have rejected the mainstream path, although it could have been very successful for me. Okay, so if you've left corporate world to follow your mission of you just can't be in the corporate world anymore, that would be true. You've left the mainstream path behind. So the next question. I like order and calm. So you don't like chaos. You like it to be orderly and calm. You're organized. And you like peace. True or false? The next, the next to last question in this section. I am suspicious of those who believe everything is simple. Not sure if I believe that everything is simple. I am suspicious of anyone who thinks everything is simple. True or false? The last question of that is, there are negative forces in the world, and I have experienced them. True or false? I have experienced negative forces. All right. So, draw a line under that. Draw a line. We're going into the next section here. All right. So, the last section here, and then we're going to go into another aspect of the test. But the next section, number 1, or the first question I'm going to ask you is, I wanted to be a nun, monk, or a priest growing up. True or false? Maybe you resonated with being a priest. Maybe you resonated with being a goddess. Maybe you just resonated with, that spiritual connection. You were seeking that spiritual connection. True or false? Next question. I find conventional relationships attractive but stifling. Oh, okay, I'm going to raise my hand again. I find conventional relationships attractive but stifling. Stifling, challenging, suffocating. Oh, no, that's me getting into that. True or false? Okay, the next question. I love each element: earth, wind, I mean, earth, fire, water, air. Well, I guess air is wind. But I love the elements. True or false? That would also mean the moon. Are you attracted to the moon? Now, that's not a question. That's part of the elemental question. So, I am Elizabeth. I'm outing myself. I have a tendency to just be a clear, like, yeah. All right. So the next question is, I am drawn to ceremony, ritual, and spell work. I believe in magic. True or false? The next question. I have experienced persecution or bullying. Were you bullied when you were little? Are you still bullied? True or false? I have been described as passionate. I was just seeing who was mowing my lawn, and I don't know him. Thank you. Looking out the... Okay. So, I have been described as passionate. True or false? I am creative, but I have a tendency to start projects and leave them incomplete. I am creative, but I have a tendency to start projects and leave them incomplete. True or false? Okay, the last question of this section. I feel safer with my own gender. People of the opposite sex are a mystery to me. I don't get men. True or false? I don't get women. True or false? I just find it just so comical that, you know, if something is going to happen around the house, it's going to happen between 10 and 11 a.m. when I do my show. And this has happened for years, ever since I started doing the show. My son would not need anything until the hours between 10 and 11. And that's what's happening now, is I didn't ask for my lawn to be mowed. So I'm trying to be patient and say, thank you, universe. But you know where they started? They didn't start on the other side of the yard. They started right here under the window. So it's like, oh, thank you, fairies. All right. So what I would like you to do is tally up the truths in each section and just write the number there. Okay, we'll go back to that in a moment. I'm going to just do another simple little test here so we can get a little more information on you. All right, so we're gonna go a little bit deeper. All right, you ready to go deeper? This is what is it? I can't remember what kind of questions these are. Not true and false, but you have choices. Multiple choice. You have multiple choice questions coming. Okay, so number 1. If you could work with one of these sacred tools, which would you choose? A drum is A. A wand is B. A C is a chalice. All right. So the second question is, choosing from the 3 below, which time of day most appeals to you? A, dawn. That's my favorite time, but then my middle name is Dawn, so I think that's why. B, sunset, or C, midnight? Which of those times appeal to you the most? A is dawn, B is sunset, and C is midnight, the stroke of midnight, when Cinderella turns back into, well, her shoes turn back into regular shoes, I guess. No, I don't think they ever did. She had to get home, though. It was past her bedtime. So, question number 3 is, I feel most drawn to wearing A, natural fibers, organic cotton, hemp, skins with symbols. B, white, pure clothing, nothing accentuating my gender. No tight clothes. C, flowing gowns or robes of rich colors. Okay, number 4. The land I would most like to visit. A, Hawaii. B, Greece. C, the British Isles. Number 5. I feel our souls are most influenced by A, our bodies. B, our thoughts. C, our emotions. I feel our souls are most influenced by our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions. Okay, the next question. If you could curl up on the couch and watch one of the below, which would you choose? A, it would be a movie like the Clan of the Cave Bear, or a fascinating documentary on ancient tribes and ancient people. B, a film like Star Wars, Star Trek, or, Battlestar Galactica. Or C, The Mists of Avalon, Merlin, a film like Harry Potter. Okay, so the next question. The beings I am most drawn to are the A, plants, birds, whales. B, angel, ascended master. C, unicorns, dragons, griffins. Although I really like mermaids too. I have mermaid friends I see quite often. All right, so just a couple more questions left. And next, I connect most strongly to A, my tribe, the elders, my ancestors. B, council, high priest or priestess. C, the priestess, goddess, druids. So I most strongly connect to A, my tribe, the elders, ancestors. B, the council or high priest or priestess. C, the goddess energy, the druids. 10, the environment I would most like to experience is A, wild, untamed jungle, underground passages. That sounds pretty cool. B, high mountains and sea with temples. C, green countryside, rich in stone circles and sacred wells. All right, so what you're going to do next is, okay, so let's go back up to section 1. Section 1, in the first section, how many of you, count the highest number of truths in each of the sections? That's what you resonate with the most, right here, right now. Now, right now, for me, I resonate most with the Avalon energy. But what Also, there has been a time in my past when I really resonated with the Lemuria energy. So I think that I've lived both of those times, or I really resonate with both of those times. So, what mystery land are you from? What lost land are you from? Lemuria, Atlantis, Avalon. So section 1, if you have more truths in section 1, that's Lemuria. Section 2 is Atlantis. Section 3 is Avalon. All right? So let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go back to the multiple choice questions. And no worries, Christina, if you missed this, if you missed the test, that's okay. I'm going to be posting this, and you can find it in the archives, as well as watching the live video, because it is being live Facebooked right now on the 1-2 Radio chat room. And it's also being live videoed on my Groovy Green Goddess page. So either way, you have lots of options. You can watch it, or you can listen to it audio over at 1-2 Radio later on. So no worries. You can take this test before we get into the rest of the series for the rest of the month. All right. So yeah, don't worry about it. So in the multiple choice, A, if you answered more A than any other, that is Lemuria. All right? If you answered B, you had more answers with B, that's Atlantis. If you answered more with C, that's Avalon. All right? And remember, you know, this is depending on where you are in your journey. And this information and just exploring these mysterious lands, even if you're not quite sure if you believe in all of this, it does help you to find more of your authentic self. And that is what I want to teach you. That's what my mission is to help you find more of your authentic, groovy self. It's so important, okay? So over the next few weeks, I will, like next week, like I said, I will be talking only about Lemuria. And then the week after that, only about Atlantis, and only about Avalon the week after that. So it's going to be lots and lots of information. Again, if you have just listening partway through the test, you can take the test later on. Now, I have people that are live, they're putting on the live feed what they are, and Lynn had 3 of each when she did the A, B, and C. So we will also talk about that later on, and you'll be able to decipher which one maybe you're working through or resonating with the most. So stay tuned. That just means, Lynn, that you have to watch the next 3 sessions, you know. I mean, if somebody is like primarily Lemuria, they don't have to tune into the Atlantis or the Avalon series. So I guess you're stuck watching me for 3 more weeks. Anyway, it's this is a lot of fun, and the more that I have gotten into it, the more I understand how I operate and what my challenges are and what my strengths are. So, okay, Cheryl is Lemuria, which definitely doesn't surprise me since you live in Hawaii. That doesn't surprise me at all. So, I think that's awesome. So, and Jan, she's a total hodgepodge. I like being a hodgepodge, you know, and I think that a lot of times we will be part of one or the other. I sometimes believe that we have lived in, at one time or other, in an aspect or in that land. I think that we have experienced all of the mystery lands. You know, that's just what my belief is. And during different phases of our life, during different phases of us getting to know more of our authentic self, we will resonate with one more than the other. So, I think I need a drink. Cheers for good old water. I have got to take some time out to go out to the fairy well today. I am out of water. I only have like one little thing of water left, and I don't have time to go out to the fairy well, so I'm going to have to make time, you know. And you know, that's part of being our authentic self, is making time to do things that we really need to do for ourselves, that makes us happy, So let's go into just a few little tidbits of each land. All right, I'll do that for you today. So let's start with Lemuria. Now, Lemuria, the islands are believed, and there is so much information on this, and so many kind of like conflicting myths and information that if this does not resonate with you, that is okay. You know, I'm not trying to convince anybody that this is truth, but this is what I have learned by reading many different books and putting information together. But Lemuria is known to primarily being located in like the Pacific Islands, like Hawaii and that. But just more recently, I read somewhere where there is starting to be like proof and energies that Lemuria also was present like in the mid-states, the United States, and that kind of energy. So you know, our continents have shifted and changed and broke off, and so, you know, that sounds about right to me, that Lemuria was like scattered all over the place, and but that is what's known to be the more specific area of Lemuria. Now, Lemuria people often love to work outside. They often love to be outside. They will excel in music. They will love to dance, and they always have rhythm. They, like I said earlier, are prone to addictions if they're not aware. If they're aware of it, they can utilize that to their benefit. You know, if they are experiencing an addictive behavior in some form, it's usually an indication that it's a way of an escape for something that may not be going right, or they may not be listening to their intuition. So it's really important that when we do start to feel that addictive behavior, to tune in and tune into our intuition, and what is it that we are not listening to or stepping out. A lot of times it's stepping out of our dang comfort zone and doing something that it would be easier to stay, but then not really easy to stay, because then, you know, our intuition is telling us this, and then we have the addictive behaviors, and, you know, so on and so forth. So Lemurians are usually drawn to vegetarian, vegan ways. If they do eat meat, they're very conscious about the meat that they eat, and they will, you know, pray over their meat, and they will, you know, have that you know, hormone free and the organic. They eat organic. They're very drawn to that. Lemurians usually have long hair. They have an unconventional look. They a lot of times are kind of eccentric, and they don't really care how they look, and they are very individualized. They a lot of times have tattoos. You know, they feel like they were born in the wrong doggone family, you know. So, you know, that's the Lemurian energy. the strengths, again, are, you know, that wisdom, and people tend to come to Lemurians because they are, they really, I'm getting sidetracked because now they're weed eating under my window. So much for reading signs on my door, huh? So the strengths are, you know, that pure, you know, Lemurians are also, they're very wise and people come to them for wisdom. They're also very sexual, you know, and they're pure as well. They're very pure and have this innocent look on life. And the challenges, like I said, are the addictions. So let's move on to Atlantis energy and the generals about Atlantis. So Atlanteans are usually very tall, very good looking, striking. They like luxurious things. They're kind of that higher class, luxurious kind of way of thinking. They're very charismatic. They have a magnetic personality. People are drawn to them because of their looks. They usually have lots of friends, but these friends are usually very surface friends, so they don't let people get too close to them. They are usually the ones that make up the technology, or you know, explore, or you know, find. They're the scientists that help with our technology, and they're the forerunners for that. And they are the experts at codes, sacred geometry, the ley lines of the earth. They also are very careful to avoid people that have dark energy or that run in chaos. They just don't have that that patience like probably people from Avalon do. They're more apt to stay in that and not realize it until after the fact, and then they're like going, but I'll get to Avalon in a minute. But Atlanteans are usually workaholics too. You know, they're very work-oriented. Some of their strengths is that, you know, they have the ability to, you know, influence people in a very positive way. They're very persuasive in their way of talking and being, and that's that charismatic energy. People are just drawn to them, you know, so that's one of their strengths. So they are able to shift and change groups and the way that they think in that group. So they're leaders. Some of the challenges for an Atlantean is that they get this strong desire of just wanting to go home. They just, you know, they just want to go they feel like they want to go someplace else. Okay, not just home, you know, in their little environment, although that you know, is certainly a characteristic, but it's a deeper longing. They have this longing that they don't understand really if they don't really think much into it, but it is about, you know, wanting to go home. They think that just mundane activity is a waste of time. They want to get things done. They're very impatient about just talking about the weather when we're at a picnic and, you know, keeping the conversations surface. They like to go deeper in. They're very intellectual people. One of their challenges is that they could come off as being detached, and they are very detached. They can stay very detached. So sometimes that is misconstrued as being cold and even cruel. Sometimes they can be quite cruel, and they don't even realize that they're being cruel when they say something to someone. They very much, you know, they're just detached. Some Atlanteans can quite easily develop an eating disorder because, you know, there is this idea of them, well, I don't have time to eat, but then, so it's also like this source of control for them because they don't have control in other areas of their life or in the bigger picture, the life around them. Okay, so they like control and order. So let's move on to Avalon because we are almost out of time. I can't believe how fast time goes, but we're having a good old time. So, Avalon, oh, Avalon. Again, I out myself. But, Avalon, either the people have a tendency to have like pale skin, golden hair, golden or red hair. They are bigger boned, although our bones are all the same size, kind of. But, the bigger statute, rather tall, or from the other end of the spectrum, they're very small, petite, dark hair. Okay, small boned. They are very drawn to colorful things. So the more color in their life, the better that they just operate. They have a tendency to be wandering, gypsy tendencies. They love the Arthurian times, the King Arthur times, and know a lot about it, or they will go to festivals and dress like that time. They are impatient in getting their point across. Sometimes they're very deeply spiritual. Some of the strengths is that they are experts in love because a lot of times they've had a lot of experience, a lot of relationships in love. So they are, every relationship they leave, they are a bigger expert in love. They would rather hug than send energy. They are humorous, they're independent, and they have this bright energy, so you could usually see them coming. Besides, the clothes that they wear are usually like bright and colorful. Their challenges, they can suffer from low self-esteem, and they have authority issues, and they're quick to temper sometimes. They must be by water. Water will really help them. They also have commitment issues. So, that's just the kind of a general. But next week, we will be talking just about Lemuria. And I hope that you can join me in that journey. I'm having so much fun teaching this series. It's something very close to my heart. And I will post in the chat room my time-to-base session if you want to get more specific in taking this test and me one-on-one using my intuition to help you determine who and what and why one of the mysterious lands resonate with you more. So I will put that in the chat room. And stay tuned. Psychic Sisters are up. Psychic Sisters, I love them. And if you are listening and you're from the Olympia area, I will be at Psychic Sisters Vintage and Clothing Store tomorrow doing readings. I think I'm just about booked, so you might want to call ASAP to reserve your spot. Against the Rules and Alive and Live next this evening. Pathways to Consciousness. Mole Mama, when you're hungry, learn how to cook. And this is Lacey Dawn Jackson, the Groovy Green Goddess. You've been listening to 1-2 Radio, where we are here to help you change the way that you listen to the world. Have a fabulous week. Blessings to all of you. And until next week.